Market emergency going down at the moment. These metals have collapsed. The crypto market is collapsing. So guys, in this short video, I'm going to give you exact levels that you can play with on gold, silver, copper, oil, a couple of stocks. I've got Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol. Let's go. So guys, obviously it was a little bit dramatic late on Friday. We saw silver like have an exponentially big dump. It was pretty brutal out there, and a lot of guys got rinsed, just like some of those crypto meme coins. Guys, let's get into some of these metals here. Gold was abused, but not as bad. We dropped 16% on gold. What is happening now, and what is a plan? So this first zone on gold for me, guys, 4780. That was my first sort of region of interest that I gave the chart hackers guys on Friday as a bounce zone for gold. So that was a big zone for me. Trend 618 horizontals, VWAPs, lots of confluence in that zone. But what happens next? So obviously we can see after a dump like this, you tend to get scenarios where they pump this stuff back. A lot of the guys exit that felt that they didn't get their exit on Friday, and then you possibly get another drop. So what I want you guys to pay attention to this week, if we start climbing higher, 5,030, 5,140, that's my local bear zone for gold. That is a big danger zone for me. Now, in terms of support, we can see big levels here. This region, 4,700, big zone for me. And then lower down, I think you've got a little bit of a banger here if there is further weakness in the markets. Look at this, 4,550 into that 50-day moving average at 4,480. That is a nice bounce zone there for gold. So if there is a little bit more of a sell-off, look out for that. Look at that 50-day MA. The next chart I show you is going to be silver, and you're going to see that massive bounce we had off that zone. So look out for that. I think if they do pump this thing in the Asia session later today, you're probably going to see some kind of rejection there. So look out in that zone. That looks like danger town for me at the moment on gold. Now let's look at silver quickly as well. This thing was absolutely brutal. I think they gave us about 38% from the highs. It was an absolute dog show there for everybody that was late long, and late long was basically everybody from around about, say, 80 got a little bit of a hiding. But look at this. I gave the chart hackers Discord this chart late on Friday while gold was capitulating. Silver was capitulating onto that 50-day MA, and that gave a lot of the guys a nice little bounce there to work with. So at least we got something out of this carnage. Now, what are we looking for on silver? In terms of massive support for us at the moment, you can see I've got a really nice zone around about the 70 mark. This is a super big area. We got nice horizontals here. So if they do come and dance around a little bit, I'd say there's probably a strong looking long at that 70 region. Obviously, we got a lot of macro conditions and things that can affect us. But in terms of key support right now, that 70 is a must-hold zone for us on silver. Now, if these guys come out and they start punching it higher during the Asia session, this is what I'm looking at here. Possible shorts, 92.3 and then 90, call it 98. That looks like the first region of interest. This is my local bear zone up here. That is where we're going to look for some possible selling if they do push that higher. Now, remember, if they do push this thing higher, we'll have this covered live on the show. And obviously in the Chart Hackers Discord, we'll be looking after you guys there on any moves to the upside in some of these metals, or downside for that matter. Okay, so bounce zones here for silver. You've got the lows. They make a ton of sense to me. You've got this upper rejection band. If anything, guys, if you are holding longs, just be careful in those regions. These are strong zones. Look at that undercarriage there. That could be a lot of problems. Short-term support, play around 81. If you're holding a long, you don't want to close 81, play with that. You close under 81, then there's possibly going to be this wick fill and that pain to the downside. Okay, so short term, you could see some kind of snapback higher. We can see it in our oscillators telling us there's potential upside. So just watch out to those regions up there. Then in terms of copper, this thing held relatively well compared to gold and silver, actually. And copper is now trying to make a comeback. Remember, this was our potential catch-up trade here. Is copper still, or does copper still have legs? So right now, guys, short-term support for copper, 5.92 looks decent to me. If they come and they smash the market again early in the week, I'm looking for longs on copper here, 5.75. That looks pretty good to me in terms of that guy bouncing. Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. A lot of this is going to come down to what happens with the Dixie as well. We've seen a lot of 𝗕𝗟𝗃 strength over the course of the last couple of days. Now we know the new Fed chair nominee is a dollar bull and he wants 𝗕𝗟𝗃 strength, and the market has obviously reacted. And then we also had obviously all the drama with the Iran war situation. We got the government shutdown. So there's multiple reasons why there's a lot of drama in the market at the moment. But in terms of the 𝗕𝗟𝗃, if the 𝗕𝗟𝗃 strength continues, I expect the S&P, I expect crypto, I expect gold and silver to feel a little bit more pain. But where is the relief bounce going to come? For me, that is the big one there at the 200-day MA, the 50-day MA, the 100-day MA. So 𝗕𝗟𝗃 hitting about 98.6. If the market's collapsing, that looks like a great guide zone. That looks like a great long zone for us on many markets if the 𝗕𝗟𝗃 pumps into that type of region. Okay, and then a quick touch on oil. You can see what's going on here. We've blown through this 200-day moving average. And this was one of the longs we caught on my show and in the Chart Hackers Discord. And this was an important one because we know these TradFi guys, we hit the 200-day MA. We know they like to long that. Once that's held, you can see, look there, we broke through, we retested. They guys love to trade these levels. Okay, so that thing pushed higher. Now we got to keep our eyes on this oil situation. If there is war drama coming this week, we might find some sort of monster breakout on oil. That is obviously going to play all sorts of games with other markets at the moment. So right now, this is WTI, 66 resistance, 62, pretty decent long from there, I would say, if there is a meltdown in these types of regions. So look out for that. Now, we're going to jump into crypto. Just a reminder, guys, I am from the Chart Hackers channel. Some of you guys might not even know who this guy is. What is going on? So I used to appear on the Crypto Banter channel. Then I moved to Banter Plus, and now it's subsequently the Chart Hackers channel. So all these charts that you see here, obviously, are in the Chart Hackers Discord. You can find a link for that in the show description as well. And come and join me in the Chart Hackers channel. I trade pretty much every day live on the Chart Hackers channel. There we are over there. Okay, come and see what is going on there. And you can see I've got DJ and Dave as well. He's making a couple of appearances as well. I've got some other team doing their thing for us as well as guest appearances. Now, we're going to get into the crypto market right now. We're looking at Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol. And then I've got a few stocks that I think we're going to get longs on during the course of this week. They're looking quite interesting here. So I'm going to cover those at the end for you guys as well. All the stock traders, we're going to get you guys covered now. So Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, we are sitting at 14. This is typically the type of level where you actually have to start looking at potentially taking on some risk when the market starts falling over like this. Remember, we like to try and look to buy this max fear when everybody is absolutely terrified. That often gives us something. But one of the markers that I'm watching at the moment is this MicroStrategy situation, and it's often a front runner. Now, we saw late on Friday, MicroStrategy started losing a key level, and that was one of the warning bells we were talking about on my show on Friday, that if MicroStrategy starts losing a key level, does Bitcoin come next? And we saw shortly after that, Bitcoin started rolling over and lost that key 80K zone for us. Now, what do we have in store for MicroStrategy? If there is more weakness, I'm pretty confident we're going to get some kind of bounce long here at around about this 105 into 100 region on MicroStrategy. But if this thing keeps dropping, I'm expecting a little bit more pain in the crypto market as well. Notably, obviously, Bitcoin is going to hurt us the most. So MicroStrategy might have something coming here. Not great. Okay, the market closed with MicroStrategy trying to recover a little bit, but subsequent to that, we've obviously had a meltdown in the crypto market. So it's going to be spicy tomorrow with MicroStrategy. I'm looking for longs 105 to 100, somewhere in that region. Okay, now getting into the crypto market, what do we need to pay attention to? USDT dominance. Now, I was covering this possible breakout on the show as well on Friday. This was obviously looking dangerous to us. It's now exploded through to the next zone. The big zone I was watching was actually this undercarriage a little bit higher, and you can see what's happened. It's actually reacted on a 618. Why is this important to us? Well, essentially, if the market is selling off, you're going to see USDT dominance pushing up into these major zones. And then when we hit resistance zones, sometimes we can start looking for possible longs or possible bounces in the market. So as things stand at the moment, USD dominance has pushed into a major resistance zone at the moment, 7.28%. This looks like a possible bounce zone for the rest of the market. Okay, now we're going to cover Bitcoin on support and a couple of altcoins on support as well, so you'll understand what I'm saying here. If there is a short-term bounce in the market, what I want you guys to get these charts on your side, get your alarms on, 6.55%. Okay, that is your possible super danger zone. So if this thing rejects now and the market starts popping off over the next 24 hours or whatever, 6.55%, that is a big market danger zone. Look out there. That is where any longs can get absolutely rinsed and rejected. Okay, so take some caution up there. Now let's get into Bitcoin. And I quite enjoyed this. Ben Cowan actually dropped an interesting tweet the other day on X. And what he's done, he's compared Bitcoin, Google, and NVIDIA. And you can see Bitcoin, he was talking about a little dip here on Bitcoin, and it would look very similar to what happened to Google not too long ago and NVIDIA as well. Now, wouldn't that be interesting if that is going to play out? Now, obviously, when you are trading and when you're doing these types of things, you need to understand what context you are trading in. Are you a short-term trader? Are you watching the 1 hour, the 4 hour candles, or are you more a long-term view? Are you watching dailies, weeklies, and monthlies? Because each of them has a context for you that you can play in. So what I want to show you guys here is a couple of ideas. Now, number one is Bitcoin on the monthly chart, and what we can see over here, just to give you a little bit of context, I've pulled some very local fibs, and on the monthly chart, these local fibs are from December 22. Okay, so not extremely local, but it gives us a beautiful context as to what is going on. And I've explained this to the guys on my channel in the Hackers Discord a couple of times here. If this was a 15-minute chart and we were watching this looking for a short-term move over the course of a day, we'd be looking for some kind of bounce in that type of region. If it dropped further, we'd be looking for a bounce in that type of zone. Why would we be looking a little bit lower? Number one, our oscillator is turning a little bit bearish. Look at that. We've lost some levels, and quite often when you start losing these levels, it tends to accelerate a little bit to the downside. So immediately on a monthly time frame, in terms of context, what are we looking at? Possibilities here, anything from roughly the 70K region, even a wick down into mid 60s could make sense here on a monthly basis. Then if there is more selling in the market, the next big zone here, there's a local, and when I say local, I'm talking about the fib from the December 22, 57,700 into about 50K. That box over there on a monthly time frame also looks pretty reasonable for us in terms of a bounce. And literally, these zones don't even have to be the bottom for BTC. These could simply be short-term bounce zones on the monthly chart while we wait for that oscillator to continue to the downside. So you could very easily see a situation play out like this, where everyone gets euphoric again on the next bounce, and then we drop back down. Same story, everyone gets euphoric again, and then we wait and see, obviously, how that plays out. So in terms of support on the monthly, guys, that makes sense to me in terms of levels. We can't be surprised if they do come and hit those types of zones. Now, let's look at the weekly time frame. Now, this is a level I've been covering in detail for quite a while now on my show. In fact, we've been tracking this probably since BTC was at the highs. This was always a possibility for us. And what I was looking for while this thing developed was this right shoulder to start developing. So those who watch the show, you would have seen I've always been super interested in rejections in those three zones. Now we can see Bitcoin rejected at that 98K region, which was our macro, or slightly more macro, 382 fib. So that is now effectively what could be considered the right shoulder of a horrible looking head and shoulders. Now, whether that plays out or not, it's not that important right now in terms of the context, but longer term, we'll obviously deal with potential targets. But right now, those targets could be as low as these types of regions here. You could even force it down. I do have a 786 fib in that 30K zone as well. But right now, what's in front of us here? A possible deviation, a possible short-term bounce in the market before they come and send things lower. So in terms of the weekly, 78 to the 75K region, I've been covering this one for a while, and this is my first actual proper weekly solid bounce zone. Okay, so I've treated this as a potential bounce zone until proven otherwise, even if it is a short-term move. And again, if we do get a bounce in the market, I'll be covering this obviously in my updates in the Discord and on the show live tomorrow when we are trading live. Okay, so possibly a push up here and then maybe a little bit more downside. We'll have to see what these market makers are going to give us. We do know we are at peak bear market vibes right now. There's like Tron FUD going on at the moment. We've got drama with CZ. There's all sorts of FUD going on. I even saw something about it's cheaper for the miners now to do things with AI than to actually mine BTC. It feels like we're at peak bear market energy. So sometimes that can prep us for a short-term bounce. So guys, I am long here at the moment. I did post on X about it. Obviously, the chart hackers Discord guys know about that. I did take that long after getting blown out of the water at 80K for that first long on Friday. So hopefully this will make some amends. If it doesn't, I'll update you guys obviously on the show. Now we're going to talk about these alts, and there's a couple of concerns I have for one or two alts. So I'm going to go ETH and Sol. They're obviously the majors. They make the most sense at the moment. And any other alt updates you can catch on my show daily. I cover them all the time as well. Now, my one concern at the moment with ETH is we haven't hit the major level. We have seen things like Sui, we've seen things like Solana, we've seen like tons of other tokens hit major levels. ETH has actually bounced a little bit short at the moment. It's a little bit of a concern for me in terms of feeling max long energy in terms of the whole market. So right now for me, the big zone at the moment for ETH, 2,150, that is a big banger there for me. And quite surprising, during that capitulation last night, we didn't just drop and hit that. I would have felt a lot more comfortable if we did go down and hit that zone. So right now, that is obviously a bit of a problem for me. And I believe the guy that had a massive ETH long. I think he lost like $200 million or something like that. And he got absolutely liquidated late yesterday, and that was part of that flush up. So going to be interesting here as to what happens next. We might see a bit of upside, but I do want to see ETH eventually settle at that 2,150, that sort of area. Could be pretty interesting there for us lower down. Okay, let's look at Sol. Now, I've been covering two big levels for Sol over the last week or so, and our first zone was that 110 region, and we had a tiny little bounce in that area, and then it eventually fell over with the rest of the market. Now, Sol is back at the $100 zone. This is a massive area here for us at the moment, and looking for a possible short-term bounce. What is a short-term bounce? Well, guys, it could simply be literally a few percent up on Sol, and then they come and they send us back to hell. Okay, so look out for that. You can see danger for Sol. Even, 115, I wouldn't get too excited. 120, geez, I mean, if you had 120, definitely take some profits there. And then in terms of levels, guys, 80 is going to be the next banger. So if it doesn't bounce now and cut it off at 100, we're looking at 80 as your next possible zone. Now, I did promise you guys a couple of stocks. Let's just look at some stocks that I'm interested in this week. Number one is Microsoft. 390, that looks like the banger to me. Lower down, I'll cover it on the show. If there is a sell-off in the S&P, 390 looks like a banger. Nvidia, guys, loving this here. 185 region could be interesting. There is a possibility of a breakout trade here at the moment, 190. But guys, this 185 region does make sense to me on Nvidia. And then Oracle, got my eyes on this Oracle, guys. 167 into 150 could be a little banger long for us on that guy. Okay, so guys, there you go. Nice little macro summary for you. Some big levels. Hopefully that helps. If you enjoy the content, obviously come and check me out on the Chart Hackers YouTube and share it with whoever you think might be interested in that stuff. Okay, guys, good luck. See you guys later.